Welcome back everyone to my Pillars of Eternity Let's Play. In a previous video I completed the late for dinner task, so Temfrith is back safe and sound within the Blackhound Inn. He's basically rewarded me with a new recipe, so I might be able to use that a bit later on when I have the right ingredients. And also our reputation has been increased. I also discovered that Nonton did indeed kill his friend, or have his friend effectively killed. So there's a new task for Vengeance from the Grave. I'm going to be confronting Nonton shortly. Before I do that though, I want to hire a new companion. I also need to rest, and I also need to level up Blue Og as well. Right, so first things first, let's talk to Pasca.
Hail and well met.
I want to hire some help. Probably don't need this adventure yet, but the sooner you get them, the more experience you get with them. I can afford it, so yeah, let's hire that adventurer. Right, it took a second then. Okay, so this is actually going to be a companion that I showed off in one of my character creation guides. So you might be familiar with this, or you might want to check it out. I'll leave a link in the comments section if you want to check it out. It's going to be a tiny bit different. There's maybe one or two talents I'm going to do slightly different, and maybe one ability, but everything else is going to be the same, all the attributes and all of that. So it's going to be a godlike, fire godlike, and I'm going to pick elf for size, and it's going to be a paladin. So this character is going to be a bit similar to Blue Og in the fact that it's kind of tanky. It's not going to be quite as tanky. It's basically what I call a second tank. So this character will, if Blue Og has more than he can handle, then this character will get involved as well, or just hang out behind Blue Og and basically take on anyone who gets past him to protect my more vulnerable companions like rogues and wizards, for example. So let's move this on. Now the Paladin order matters. Not so much as it might. Well, if it was your player character, it really matters because basically what disposition you take, what lines you take in the game, affect if you retain its bonus or not. But for a normal companion, it doesn't matter at all in regards to that. But it does matter in regards to what talents you can pick. So I'm going to be picking the Shield Bearers of Saint Elgar. And this basically gives deflection bonuses to its lay on hands ability and its sword ability. If I was going for a more offensive type of paladin, then I'd probably go for the Bleak Walkers. That's what I prefer in that situation. Wayfarers is health, and these two are well, I don't like their abilities, to be honest, those two paladin orders. I can't even remember fully what they are, but they're not that good from memory. So let's move that on. Now, Flames of Devotion has been slightly changed since the backup beta. It does half as much damage as it used to, but it has now 2 per encounter. Arguably, it's even better, I think. But I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to pick it Lay on Hands. This kind of support tank is going to be providing bonuses to other people more than trying to do damage. So I think in this situation I'm going to pick Lay on Hands. I might pick this later on. There's a couple of talents associated to it as well, but it's quite hard to pick talents for this Paladin class I'm going to be making. There's probably about 10 or 11 talents that I would happily pick, but I can only pick 6. So yeah, let's pick Lay on Hands though. So I'll come back to the attributes later on. Now for the background or culture, I'm going to pick Old Veiler to get the intelligence bonus. This will give improvements to the auras that the paladins have, which is very important, and also the duration abilities they have. The background, paladins have bonus skills in athletics and lore. I think for this character I'm basically going to specialize in athletics, although Blue Og might to a certain extent. Lore, I'm probably going to get someone else in the party to specialize in it. So I'm looking for backgrounds here that give, well, I'm not going to do lore, so I'm looking for athletics and lore probably. So that's athletics and mechanics. That's no good. Athletics and lore. So mercenary is the one to go for here, I think, in this situation. If I'm going to go for athletics, Now, she starts with 1 lore. Now, lore, these scrolls that you can have, they seem to work every couple of points in lore you have. So, on the even amounts, and not on the odd amounts. So, there's not much point in having 3 lore or 5 lore. You might as well try and get the even amount, and we'll start with the even amount here by picking this mercenary background. Head, happy with that. I don't like the other ones. Color I can change later on, so it's not important to do it now. And I think there's a couple of different fire portrait options. Quite like them both, but that probably looks a bit more like that one. So
Yes.
I think
Follow me.
I'm probably going to pick
them all.
The better part of valor.
noble for
I'm here.
this one. And name Petronella Incendio. Okay. Hopefully I've spelt all of that right. Press accept and attributes. Right, the most important thing. So she's going to be a tank character. So first of all, let's increase our resolve. I'm going to reduce dexterity, which means she's not going to attack very fast. She's not really designed to do a lot of damage, but she can do a bit of damage. She will be able to. So I'm going to increase my intellect as much as possible. The godlike gives a bonus to intellect and dexterity. Dexterity I don't need so much. I kind of do need it a tiny bit because she's going to be casting things like that, which affects how fast they are cast. I can't remember if that's cast fastly. I think it is, so dexterity doesn't matter so much then. The next attribute I'm going to... Let's lower my constitution. Now, she's a tank, and normally you would want constitution here, but she's going to have so much deflection, and she's a second role tank, so she shouldn't need it that much. Paladins also start with very high levels of health and endurance, and this is a key stat, much more key than constitution. That's only going to lower it by 20%. It's really... it doesn't work out that much. So, might... this will mean that she does more damage and she heals more, which will come in handy with lay on hands. And there's also another healing type ability that the paladin can get, which I'm going to be picking. And I put the rest of the points in perception to get more deflection in the main. Later on I can give her armors that increase constitution and more deflection, and I probably will be as well. Okay, so I think that's it. I can't see any mistakes. I'm out of points. So, done. Okay, I need to level up my character a second. Let's save the game. Right, and let's swap around some equipment for her. So I need to be careful about double clicking now. I've heard on armor in case... because it's a bug and you lose your traits potentially if you do, so I'm just going to swap them around manually. Be careful with that. Let's put that one on her. Breastplate's got better armor than that, just about. So what other items has she got? Nothing. She's good at lore, so I'm actually going to switch. Well, he's better at lore, but he's got spells anyway, so he doesn't need them so much. So I'm going to take these. Well, actually, they're all the same, so I'll just take 2 off and I'll give her those. What else do we need to do? Weapons. Now, I want a shield, but probably not a small shield. I want a heavier shield with her. Rapier, I probably don't want that. I want her to actually hit her opponents, so let's give her an accuracy boost. I could give her a hatchet if I have one spare to give her better deflection, but I'm happy with that. So heater shield and medium shield are basically the same. So it's cosmetic, it would seem. It's the only difference. So I'll just give her that shield there. And let's give her a bow as well, which I might use occasionally. Okay. Right, that's all done. Now let's level up Blue Og. So we've got 6 skill points this time round. I'm going to invest into athletics. It's the first time I invest and get 3. Next time around, not sure yet. Could be law, could be stealth or athletics probably. So let's move that one on. Now we get an ability at level 3. So with modal abilities, often you can only have one working at any one time, so it's often not a good idea to pick 2 or more. Defender is the one I'm going to be picking here rather than Guardian Stance, although I might actually pick Guardian Stance later on because it's quite good. If Blue Og's not being attacked, I could use that to help other people out. That's more accuracy, which she doesn't really need. And that's convert grazes into hits, so that's more for an offensive fighter, which Blue Og isn't. So Defender, it got nerfed a bit since the backup beta sadly, so it gives less deflection now, but it increases the amount of enemies that the fighter can engage before becoming flanked, and also ties them down at the cost of attack speed, so less DPS, but he doesn't really need damage per second that much anyway. He's not designed for it. So Defender, and I think that's it. So that's pretty straightforward. So his deflection's really going through the roof now probably. Let's put that modal on.
Yes.
She doesn't have a modal yet, but she'll get one later when she levels up a bit. Let's quick save that, and I think I can rest now. So I probably should, because I need to. So let's talk to Pascal.
Hail and well met.
I'd like a room, please. I'm not willing to spend money yet, so I'm just going to use the common room, which is free. And we get that video. And I had a feeling that sleeping might be a way to continue the quest actually, so yeah, it looks like it is. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. To be honest, it's not that surprising you get nightmares after having seen that. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face has shriveled inward like mouldering fruit. That might be the, was it a chanter or apothecary, or can't remember, soul person that was mentioned about. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. That's the word I was looking for. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Well, hanging from a tree for quite a while usually kills you, so... so we have to find the dwarven woman. Okay, so let's switch around my party formation a tiny bit. So this is my scouting formation, I believe. So let's have it like that, and that is my defensive formation. So Blue Og and Petronella, and they can be like that. Okay, which one have I got on? That one on, I think. Right. So journals, that was for vision and whispers. Find the dwarf in the tree. I've got to do find Nonton now as well. And we're getting to the point where I can...
Sure.
Oh, I've got a grappling hook. I have to go back to Gilded Vale because there was something up on that ramparts, I think. Right. tons of things to do all the time in these types of games. So let's go to the tree, I guess. Oh, Alof went up as well. Right, gotta do him in a minute then. That's gonna be a more difficult decision about what to pick. I think, yeah, let's go to the tree first. Speak to Eda on the way. Caldara di Baranzi.
I have received confirmation that Lord Radric's heir was not born well. My lord has issued an injunction on all new homesteads until he can be assured that the village has been cleansed of all Aothasians and whatever other undesirables that have brought this curse upon his lands. It would be best if you left town as soon as possible. I would suggest returning to your old home. There will be no place for you here. You may stay at the inn until you can make the necessary arrangements, but I would not advise remaining long. I expect Lord Radric will be most thorough in his efforts to purify this place.
Okay. I assume that's to do with Pearly and Nonton. I think I'm going to do that one first. Then you should have no problem continuing on. Trust me when I say it would be best if you were not here when Lord Redric's men are dispatched from his hold. They will be looking for anyone who might have brought the legacy upon us, whose very presence might have polluted his wife's womb. They will extinguish all possibilities. Great. I'd like to report a murder. The magistrate raises a brow. As is your duty, what has happened? A man called Nonton has killed his friend Pearly out in the wilds. Maybe I should have gone and looked for him first? But yeah, we'll play the lawdoer role, I guess. A cruel and cowardly deed, if indeed it occurred at all. What evidence do you have? Right, he's not going to believe us, is he? I had a vision of the victim's final moments. I saw the crime unfold. He's going to think I'm a nutcase and stick me up on the tree, probably, if I do that. So I will go find some. Urgit nods slowly. These are not accusations to make lightly. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Guildville understands our rules. Okay. Can I ask him that still? No, sadly. Right, so I need to go and see if Nonton's still here, I guess. And let's try and talk to Caldara. Caldara de Branzi, the squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh at her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. So soul reading again by the looks of it. So reach out for the woman. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the Hanning woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the Hanning woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives you a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Okay. Am I imagining this? How are you able to speak to me? I need to understand something that's happened to me. I think I survived a beer wick. Do you know why that would be? I want to know something about you. Let's just go through in order, I think, yeah?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there.
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
So it sounds like a type of limbo.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their honor can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
Sounds familiar. She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Okay. I think I survived a beer wick. Do you know why that would be? So we've got a new place to go on our main quest. It's in great.
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die, and pick up pieces of others when we are born again. But less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Okay, I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
So the Valians are basically Italian type culture. That's why I called my new companion Petronella, since she's from Valia. So what happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
Yeah, it was a pretty stupid question, really.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
Right, and it looks as if I finally exhausted everything here, so farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caladra closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose. Your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. New quest, the Old Watcher. Travel to Caed Nua. Quest completed, visions and whispers. Right, save again. Okay. And it looks as if my rogue just leveled up as well. Right, so we've got to do that basically. Caed Nua is southeast of Gildeville, past the Black Meadow. I will have to travel there if I am to speak with Meyerwald. Right, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm been playing for over half an hour already, so I think I'm going to have to call it an end of the video here. So I'll do a couple more errands and then I think I'll head southeast pretty soon, and I've got to level up these two characters at the start of next video. Right, hope you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.